basically the battery make the electric vehicle very expensive. If it was not for the battery, the cost would not be that large. So, the question that we sometime ask or often ask is that, can India really build its electric vehicle program when the costs are high? Remember, India is a country, not so rich country. People of course want vehicle, but affordability is low. In India, for example, there are two-wheelers purchased at around 50,000 rupees per piece, very common, 50, 60, even 35, 40. Small cars are purchased at 300,000, 350,000, 400,000 rupees. Of course, there are bigger cars which may cost 1.5 million, 2 million, but they are few. You will also see that most vehicles are two-wheelers, some three-wheelers and small cars. So, the question is, will electric vehicle using a battery, as I pointed out, increase the cost tremendously? And if it increases the cost, how are we going to introduce electric vehicles? Then even though it will fight pollution, it is good, it will reduce import bill, are we going to win? And this is a challenge that was posed to us about 5-6 years back. We started looking at saying there has to be an answer. We have to figure this out. How does one deal with the fact that battery costs dominates the cost in electric vehicle and is very high? Actually, one can deal with it if one start looking at what kind of vehicles do we use. I have in the numbers here from 13-14 to 18-19. If you really look at it, most of the vehicles are two-wheelers. I do not have the later number, but later numbers show the same trend. There are number of three-wheelers, and these three-wheelers, by the way, did not include e-rickshaw. E-rickshaw came afterward, does not include that. So, the two-wheelers and three-wheelers dominate. And then there are passenger cars, smaller numbers, and then there are commercial vehicles. Now, for most of you today who do not own their vehicle, the primary means of travel has become a three-wheeler. It has become very, very popular in cities, even in small towns. Even in the villages, people take these three-wheelers. Three-wheelers has become, of course, it used to be the auto rickshaw, now e-rickshaw is starting to come electric. So, this is very, very common and it is going up. Cars are only 14% of the vehicles. So, this car is around 14% of the vehicle. But look at car little more deeper. Look at the cars which are below 5 lakhs rupees, 500,000 rupees. There are 27%. And between 500, 600, 700,000, you will find another 15-20%. So, most cars in India are low cost. So, can we do another division? And that is what we try to do. We say take two-wheelers and three-wheelers. Now, three-wheelers, they are rapidly rising, that will be around 80-83%. Economy cars under 10 lakhs rupees, under a million rupees, it is 12%. 95% of vehicles are these. The interesting thing that you will find that these three category of vehicles which is used very widely in India, you go to Europe and you do not find them, very little. You go to United States, you do not find them. You go to Japan, you find very little of them. You go to South Korea, you do not find them. Australia, you do not find them. So, actually our vehicles are very different from that of the West. If we directly copy their strategy and say, okay, how are they doing electric vehicles, should we also do electric vehicle, we are going to go into a jam. The costly, and then you will need lots of subsidy and things will not take off. But if you understand India, 95% of the vehicles are not the same. Of course, in the 5%, 2% are premium cars above ₹1,000,000, above 10 lakhs rupees, they are similar to Teslas. We keep talking, as soon as we talk about electric vehicle in India, we keep talking about Tesla, and we should get Tesla, we should learn from Tesla. We are talking only about 2% of the vehicles are Tesla kind of vehicles. But why do we all the time talk about Tesla? Why do we keep on getting links from everywhere for premium cars, large cars? Even our trucks and buses are small. And yes, they consist of 3%. But most of our vehicles are here. We are not used to in India making a policy. We are not used to really looking at technology by trying to understand India. Most of the time, look up the West, what are they doing, can we copy? That is what our way is, and we often get stuck. We try to do it differently. Of course, even that was not so easy, because while some of us tried to drive it, government came on the way. All the government officers think, I have seen it in Italy, I have seen it in France, that is the way to go about doing it. Why not get Tesla? But Tesla does not make two-wheelers, and certainly not a two-wheeler which is 50,000 rupees. They laugh at it. So either we wait for them to fully develop and then develop these low cost vehicles and send it to us, or we start focusing on these vehicles and win here. That should be the India strategy. So two-wheelers, three-wheelers and small four-wheelers less than ₹1,000,000 constitute 95% of the vehicles. Price point of India is much lower because affordability is lower, and if we focus on them, we can win. That should be the India strategy. And our policies never, we have tried to push, so now lip service is paid, but thinking is all comes still from big players internationally. Premium four-wheelers we can do roughly same, but that is 2%, does not matter. We ourselves can learn. If we start building our 95% vehicles, we will actually build better vehicles, even the premium vehicles. So that is all right. So one important thing is, without battery, if you take the battery out, cost of electric vehicle is very small, because the internal combustion engine, remember, is replaced by a electric controller and motor, and motors and controllers do not cost that much. The rest of the drivetrain also does not cost much. The main cost is battery. You take battery, our cost of a vehicle is less than a petrol vehicle. So the main problem is battery. So when the cost of battery is high, I remember about 5 years back, I was in Delhi, I was a principal advisor to the Minister of Power at that time, and I was asked to somehow drive the electric vehicle program. So I called a meeting of all the vehicle manufacturers who are interested in electric vehicles, and all of them, many of them came and they say, oh, TVS Motor said we have built an auto. Most of the focus was that time on auto. So I have built an auto, you have built an auto. So while they were discussing and they were all talking about it, I asked them a question, कितना देती है? Now कितना देती है is an important, very important slogan that actually was introduced by one vehicle manufacturers for selling their petrol vehicles, and it somehow caught the imagination, because it really captured what does a middle or lower middle, and I will say even upper middle class person thinks when they go to buy a vehicle. Kitna deti hai? What is the amount of liters of petrol it consumes for a kilometer, or how many kilometers go per liters of petrol? In fact, very soon you started comparing vehicles from one manufacturer and another manufacturer, saying I give you more kilometers per liter vis-a-vis the other. This just caught the imagination. So all these people were talking about electric vehicles and they are making it and all that. I listened to that for about 15-20 minutes. So they were asked, okay, you make this auto, kitna deti hai? The guy got up and somehow thought that I don't understand. See, it doesn't consume petrol. I say, I know it doesn't consume petrol, but it consumes energy, electricity. So ask, how much electricity does it consume for a kilometer, right? Or how many kilometer does it travel in 1 kilowatt hour of electricity? Same question, kitna deti hai? Same question, how many kilometers does it travel in 1 liter of petrol? Now 1 kilowatt hour of battery. This person who was the chief technology officer and had designed the electric vehicle and was talking about it did not know. What was interesting, all of them were senior people. Most of the people did, almost everyone did not know. They are making vehicles, electric vehicles. I asked them, do you know for your petrol vehicles? And they all came up with the number. That is the first number that you talk about. As soon as you talk about a petrol vehicle, the first number that you try to think in terms of how many kilometer does it give you for liter. But they did not know for electric vehicle. Ask them question, why don't you know? Looks like that is energy efficiency and looks like you are not thinking in terms of energy. Of course, in the meantime they all had the mobile phone, so they could start sending messages to their companies and start getting the data. So they got the data. But the fact that they were not thinking, I said something is seriously wrong. Then one of them, so I asked them, why are they not thinking? He says, well, it doesn't consume petrol, it's electricity. Electricity cost is low. I said electricity cost is low, but battery cost is not low. Remember, all of them were complaining. They came saying that we want to make electric vehicle and we are ready, we know the technology. All that we really need is subsidy, government subsidy, government subsidy, government subsidy. And I was told by my minister that, well, don't commit to any government subsidy, amount of money that we can use to support will be limited. And I was trying to convey them and they were all saying, well, that it will never take off. And when they said it will never take off, I had asked this question, kitna deti hai? So I asked a very simple question, that suppose you improve your energy efficiency, will the battery size not go down? I said, obviously. So will your cost not go down? Yes. So why are you not focusing on it? So pushing themselves, they found that in a 3-wheeler auto, kind of Bajaj auto kind of thing, the numbers that I got was 80 watt hour per kilometer, 70 watt hour per kilometer. The best number was 70 watt hour per kilometer. The next question that I asked, why does it consume 80 watt hour per kilometer or 70 watt hour per kilometer? Why not 40 watt hour per kilometer? They say, sir, it is impossible. I say, why? Why is it impossible? Why are you replying it is impossible? Have you figured it out? Have you done? Is it the energy efficiency issue? Fundamentally, do you require 70 watt hour to travel 1 kilometer? Or is it energy efficiency issue? And they had no clue. Of course, I had some startups also sitting there. One of the startup person got up and sort of says, sir, I have designed a motor and controller and put it into a vehicle and I can give you 48 watt hour per kilometer. Wow. Instead of 80, you are going to get 48. So your battery size will considerably come down, your cost will considerably come down. So all of them were saying that my cost is high. I said cost is high because you have designed inefficient vehicle, inefficient motors and controllers. By now, almost all of them realized that they had not focused on it, even though they were heading R&D, big people. they sort of said, but then they started bargaining, sir, we can get 60, not better than 60. I said, well, somebody has already got 48. And by the way, I had done a computation. Assuming around 90% energy efficiency, you should be able to do 40 watt hour per kilometer. And suppose you don't reach that, maybe 45 watt hour per kilometer. That meeting decided we will improve the energy efficiency and get it to 45 watt hour per kilometer. Now, that is very important, because that started work between industry and academia on something that they had never focused. All these motors and controllers, by the way, are coming from China. You blindly used it. Poor efficiency. And when I asked one of the person, can you tell me how to improve energy efficiency? He knew exactly. All the theory people know. Say first improve motor and controller efficiency. Then something that I did not know, he told me a better tire will reduce the friction and will reduce the losses, and my energy efficiency will go up. The interesting thing is, I asked him that is it very difficult to design those better tires? He says, no, sir, we have it, we use it for premium vehicles. I say, why not use it for auto? See, they cost higher. How much higher? 10 to 15%. So I asked them, well, maybe 10 to 15%, but will that not improve your energy efficiency by 10 to 15%? They say yes, probably more. Then they say weight. Can you reduce the weight of your vehicle? Can you use new materials? They say yes, little more difficult, but we can certainly try. That can be an interesting R&D area. Can you improve the vehicle aerodynamics? People are not very sure, because these auto shapes etc. has evolved over the years. You may not be able to, but all these four improves the energy efficiency. I said, this is your focus, and this is the R&D focus where industry and academia need to work together, and they need to deliver 45 watt hour per kg, maybe 40 watt hour per kg. What I am glad is that even though no formal program really started, but from around 80, 75, 70, in 3 years time, we have come to most vehicles today hitting the market, 3-wheelers, autos are around 45 to 50 watt hour per kilometer. So once you recognize that things can be done, they are now focusing, primarily it came from motor controller efficiency and from better tires. Now, it was a discussion which otherwise would have wounded up in 1 hour 45 minutes, 30 minutes, because everybody was asking subsidy, and I had said that, well, not much subsidies available, people are saying no point in spending time, and here 2 hours, 2.5 hours later, everybody said, well, we certainly can reduce our cost like anything, because what it means, and here I have given you detail of the battery capital cost, and look at it. I am going to give you homework. The operation cost is very less, and it is the capital cost that you need to compute, and I am giving you homework. I am not going to get into details of this. But basically, so this is a home assignment which uses the data that was given in the previous chapter, and you will see this is the numbers that I have told you for 2-wheelers. If you do for auto, if you do 40 watt hour per kilometer, your range that you can travel is much higher for 1 kilowatt hour battery, and for different kilowatt hour battery 1, 2, 3 and 4. If you get 50, you can travel less, and you can use this to calculate what the capital cost will be. It is a fairly straightforward, so I will leave it, I will not get into this, and this home assignment essentially asks you to do that.